Angela Bassett did the thing. Now cue the music.
Is looking at you, kids.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
This seems so James Bond.
There's no place like home.
I'm gonna make him an offer down with you.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Gone with the Win. Today we're going to be revealing the nominations for our own Gone for the Win awards that we have been collecting things on people over the time. But we do have a few other things to talk about at this stage. Before we get into all that, one thing we didn't talk about yesterday with the BAFTAs, and that was purely because I didn't even know about this until it started trending on TikTok afterwards. Alina DeBose is getting a lot of hate for that rap she did at the BAFTAs, which is crazy. I listened to it. I thought it was a really interesting thing to do, and cool. And just part of the reason I wanted to talk about here is they had some interviews with those people that they were talked about at the PGAs, and a lot of them were praising it and said that it was really entertaining. Even Jamie Lee Curtis sort of said, like, if you're coming after Ariana, it's like, why? He's like, she was great. Like, what are you doing here? But Dan, what are your thoughts about all that?
Yeah, I don't understand. I just, she's doing something creative, something different, something interesting regarding the people that were nominated. And, you got to give her credit for that. Whether you like it or you don't like it, it's just, you can't be over there bashing her because of that. I mean, that's just ridiculous. People just have no lives. They just got to go find something to give somebody a hard time about, which to me is ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like, I mean, a lot of the people I've seen bashing it, probably the people that don't understand theatre and that, because like I sort of read up about this. Apparently, this is something that she decided sort of 10 minutes before the BAFTAs. Like, she wrote this really quickly, and well, yeah, if she had more time, maybe she could have sort of fashioned something better. But with the time that she had and what she had planned, it was fun. It was entertaining. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way from the own. I've had Angela Bassett did the thing stuck in my head already. It's like, but so I'm going to start with probably the smaller of the awards that we got. The Annie Awards were presented, which I actually didn't realize was happening this week. But I'm not going to talk about all the awards. I'm just going to talk about the two main ones. So the Animated Feature Film Award went to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. The Indie Award went to Marcel the Show of Shoes On. Dan, what are your thoughts about the Annie Award winners?
I think we talked about this with Emma, but I'm not sure. We may not have, but yeah, it's it's a no-brainer that those are the two front runners for animated feature. And I mean, if Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio doesn't win the Oscar, it's probably going to go to Marcel the Show with Shoes On, which would be a huge upset because I think this is one of the most obvious picks for the Oscar come March 12th.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones, like, at this point, like, Del Toro's Pinocchio has been winning everywhere. Like, at this point, I don't see anything, like, anyway, it's going to, something else is going to sort of pick up steam at this point. Like, as you said, I think the only thing at this point, that could sort of rival it is Marcel, but for that, we're going to move into the PGA. So the PGA Award for Motion Picture went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. The animated PGA for Animated Film went to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And the award for Documentary went to Navalny. So, yeah. So just like what we said with any awards, like the PGA win for Pinocchio, I think that's kind of what solidified it to possibly win, with the fact that it won sort of two big things in 1 week. Like, I don't think there's anywhere like something else is going to win. And I think Navalny is probably like looking like that might win Doco, although documentary does tend to go all over the place. But everything all at once sort of winning PGA, and we're going to get more of that when we get to SAG as well. I think this is kind of put it at a very close lot. I think at this point, I don't think there's nothing else that's going to take it over in time for the Oscars. I think every all at once is pretty much safe come Oscars. But Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you and me and everybody thought that Top Gun Maverick was going to get the PGA Best Picture, but there was a theory going around, and I don't want to piggyback off of my buddies over there at FYC, but I guess there was a theory going around saying that because they were given the Erwin Thalberg Award or some kind of like Life Achievement Award to Tom Cruise, that they wanted to spread the love and give Everything Everywhere all the main award. And I call BS on that, Malcolm, because if you wanted to give Top Gun Maverick the main award, you would have given it to Top Gun Maverick. Didn't matter if you gave Tom Cruise a Lifetime Achievement Award or not. The fact of the matter is Everything Everywhere All at Once got it, and it's now the odds-on runaway front runner for the Oscar for Best Picture and probably Best Director. And I'll argue that till horses come home or the sheep come home or whatever.
Yeah, because I know, like, yeah,
sorry.
because I know before all these awards sort of races started, I think it was like, oh yeah, The Fabelmans is nominated. Hollywood likes some movies about making movies. They get Fabelmans to get awards. Like, I think the Fabelmans team is really lost. I think the Fabelmans has just gone careening off track. I don't think it's really done well this awards season, like everyone thought, and so I think that. So yeah, I think that is probably not going to happen. Like at this stage, I can't think of anything that's nominated for Best Picture that I think could overtake it. Because I know, like last year, everyone's like, Power of the Dog was getting all this love, and then Coda sort of comes out of nowhere and takes. I don't think there is anything this year that's like that can do that.
Well, you make a very good point, Malcolm. The problem is this is the one kind of monkey wrench in the ointment here. Everybody, all the Oscar voting begins this week, and all these things that Everything Everywhere All at Once won, is that going to rub people the wrong way? Well, we don't want to vote for the most obvious thing, the thing that's going to win, the thing that has won everything leading up to this. Let's vote for something else. And that something else could be, and you don't know, All Quiet on the Western Front, which cleaned up at the BAFTAs. Can you correlate that BAFTAs cleanup to the Oscars? I don't know. Or is what people were perceiving the second place movie, Top Gun Maverick, like I said before, the second, the third, the fourth place votes, it is enough of those 2s, 3s, and 4s to overtake let's say the 1s and 2s of everything, and then it gets a bunch of 8s and 9s, and then 3s, 4s, and 5s overtake it. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. And that's why the preferential ballot is so important here. But we did get the preferential ballot at the PGAs, and guess what won? Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
So we already had a test on the preferential ballot, and Everything Everywhere All at Once won. And there's a similar amount of voting. It's like 8,000 people in the PGA and about 9,000 something in the Oscars. So it's similar, a very similar number of voting. So I don't see anything coming out of nowhere and beating it, but you just never know. And just on real quick, Navalny, now that's 2 wins for Navalny. I thought All the Beauty and the Bloodshed was like going to win this thing. But I mean, I had Navalny in my 5, and it's one of my favorite films of the year. Just same thing as All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. But this looks like it's going to start being the thing that's going to put Navalny over the top for best documentary.
Yeah, and just something I just quickly brought up before, like the last 3 years, the theatrical award at the PGA was the best picture, and it was like last year Coda won PGA, then the year before that Nomadland won. Like 2019 was 19, it was a split, and then 2018 Green Book won PGA. So in the last last 4 years, like
9 out of the last 10 years, Malcolm. 9 out of the last 10 years.
Yeah,
the PGA winner has gone on to win the Oscar.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting. But the one thing that I think is going to help is SAG and I'm gonna start from the bottom because I want to save the ensemble one for last. But now the winner of supporting actress at SAG was Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, I know everyone was expecting Angela Bassett to do the thing and win. But yeah, I think Angela Bassett is still in the running personally. I think Jamie Lee Curtis winning supporting at SAG is definitely put her at this way. I think it's a kind of freeway race at the moment of Jamie Lee, Kerry Condon, and Angela Bassett, because like Kerry won BAFTAs, Jamie won SAG, and I think Angela Bassett got the Globe. So,
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting because. Is it going to be one of those three, or is each award show going to have a different best supporting actress win and like really spread love? Because I'd love to see Stephanie Sue pull out the win, but unfortunately, the Oscars very rarely award it to the new person on the block. So, but Dan, what are your thoughts about supporting actress?
No, I mean, I actually agree with what you're saying, Malcolm. It's a 3-horse race now because of the BAFTA and because of the SAG and because of the Golden Globe. But the thing about the SAG, I think people should understand is this: if you look at all the SAG awards, right? They are rewarding people that have been in the industry a long time, and not to get off on TV, but Sam Elliott in television, Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, Brendan Fraser, who's been around a while, Michelle Yeoh, who's been around a while. If you look at the SAGs, and it's usually 3 out of 4 go on to win the Oscars. So which of these 4 are going to go on to win the Oscar? That is the question. I don't think anybody's saw it, but you could have seen this in the tea leaves, and the Oscar experts kind of predicted this a little bit. And I kind of wish I had gone that way, because I obviously chose Bassett here in my Gold Derby Awards. But that's a kind of a career SAG for Jamie Lee Curtis. So you kind of have the 2 women that are kind of looking for the career Oscar, really, Jamie Lee Curtis and Angela Bassett, whereas Kerry Condon, she's got plenty more chances. Hong Chow and Stephanie Sue have chances. The 2 that have been in the industry 50 years for Jamie Lee Curtis, into her 30-something years for Bassett. So who do you give it to? The woman who's 64 and who's been doing this for 50 years or close to 50 years, or the person that's been doing it for 30 years and her nomination was 30 years ago? So there's kind of 2 narratives for these 2, and it's definitely one of the best races going, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, and like Jamie Lee Curtis's speech was just incredible, though. It was like, because you can definitely feel the emotion sort of when she was talking about wearing her parents' wedding ring and all that, just sort of how much this meant to her and all that. And like, I know there's a lot of people going out there, oh, she doesn't deserve it. She totally does. Like, she was like, well, yes, she wasn't a major part in Everything Everywhere at Once, but she was good in that. Like, she deserved it for Everything All at Once. Like, it's very rare that, like, I know we use the term like career Oscar, career SAG, all that, but when it's one of those ones like that, they get it for the career, but when they actually deserve it for the movie they won it for is as a very rarity. And I think if she wins the Oscar, I think she totally deserves it for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, and I like Angela Bassett. I want her to be the first to win an acting award for a Marvel movie, but if I'm going to go based my heart on who deserves it more, I think Jamie Lee Curtis had the better performance in Everything All at Once over Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever. But both of them are still really close in my heart. I would be upset with either of them winning. But moving on to supporting actor, and to no surprise, it was Ke Huy Quan, which, and as he pointed out in his speech, like he's the first Asian actor to win for supporting, and he deserves it. Like, one thing I didn't realize, and that he said in his speech, that him and Michelle Yeoh started their careers at the same time.
That's so weird.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of age difference between them because, like, he was only a kid.
Old.
Yeah.
Well, we know he was in Goonies and he was in the Indiana Jones and the Temple too. He was a kid though, right? So I understand. She's probably an adult. He was a kid, even though they kind of started at the same time. She's older than him, obviously.
Oh yeah, and it was for that reason I didn't like, because like I've seen Michelle Yeoh in a few things. I thought I thought she'd been acting for a lot longer than what
she's looking good for her age. I'll give her credit for that.
Oh, and we'll get to it in, yeah, but yeah, so like Ke Huy Quan won. I'm pretty sure he's pretty much locked for the Oscar at this point. But then, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I had 4 or 5 100-point bets for the Oscars, one of them would definitely go on him, and I might take one of my 2 and put them on him right now, because this is you couldn't correlate. I said it when we were with Emma, you just can't correlate that win for Barry Keoghan to the Oscars. There's no key. The largest voting body is the acting branch, and they voted for him, so you could definitely correlate that voting body over to the Oscars. And it's going to be him. And, his speeches all year long, all season long have been fantastic. And he deserves a win. He's fantastic in the film. And what more can I say about it? We've been beating this drum for months now, me and you, right?
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like, I really hope he keeps acting after this because, and it's one of those ones like, I know the trend is casting everyone in a superhero role, but I would love to see Ke Huy Quan jump into like a Marvel or DC movie and see what and be interested in see what he does with that. Like, because I think he could make a great sort of superhero. I don't know who I'd cast him as at this point, but
you bring that up, Malcolm. You bring that up, Malcolm. You see, Stephen Yeun just got cast as that version of the Hulk, where it was an Asian guy that gets the Hulk serum and turns into the Hulk.
Cho.
Yeah, Amadeus Cho. What a good role for Ke Huy Quan. That would have been a good role for him, But I guess they went a little bit younger, maybe because they wanted him to be in more than just one movie. The Thunderbolts.
Well, I think that character is relatively young as it is.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
But
that's just something. No, we're not saying, but that's an example of something where maybe you could put him in a role like that. Maybe he could play a villain for all you don't know what's out there and what they're looking for, what the script calls in various movies either.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think it depends on what Ke Huy Quan would want to do, but yeah, but so that was pretty sort of the obvious choice that happened. But moving on to lead actress, sticking with Everything All at Once, Michelle Yeoh took it out. And yeah, so Dan, what are your thoughts about lead actress?
Well, I had this. I voted for Michelle Yeoh in the SAG. I feel that Kate's already got a SAG. Michelle probably doesn't. This is their way once again at the SAGs, give a trophy to somebody that doesn't have it. I would love to see Michelle Yeoh win based on what Kate Blanchett said at the Critics' Choice Awards, but I just don't think she's going to. I think with the entire Academy, they're gonna go for the best performance. And I'm not saying Michelle Yeoh's performance isn't good, because it's very good, and she's deserving of an award. We're talking about her in this context because she deserves an award. I just think it's just so overwhelmingly in the favor of Kate Blanchett to win the Oscar because of her performance in Tar, even though she said some things she shouldn't have said against herself at the Critics' Choice Awards. I still think she's got it in the bag, but I love the fact that the actors did give it to Michelle Yeoh. And going back to Ki Kwan, the largest voting body, maybe that can overcome any naysayers or people that are voting against her. You never know. It's going to be an interesting day. That and Best Supporting Actor probably are two of the better races going into the Oscars on March 12th.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like my takeaway from coming out of SAG in general, when we get to lead actors, like at least 3 of the races is either a 2 or 3 horse race. Like supporting actor is the only one that's kind of pretty much a straight shot. We know we probably can see what's going to happen, kind of thing. But because the way I see it for lead actress, like it's a 2-horse race between Michelle and Kate. I think the other 3 that are nominated, like I don't think they have the power. I don't think they're going to be able to overtake them. And if Michelle Yeoh wins, the beat of Michelle won at the Oscars. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. I'm right with you, Malcolm.
Look, and no hate to Michelle Williams. Like I enjoyed you in the Fabelmans, but I really thought Michelle Yeoh was better in everything all at once. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not going to be too upset with whoever wins that. Like I think at the moment on Gold Derby, I think I've put Michelle Yeoh as the top at the point, but that can change by the time I get to actually thinking about the Oscar nominations a little bit more and how I feel. But moving on to lead actor, and it's the only movie that didn't have anyone from Everything Every All at Once nominated. But Brendan Fraser took out lead actor at the SAG, which and his speech was just incredible. This is and lead actor is probably going to be a really interesting one too, because you've got Austin Butler on one side, Brendan Fraser. I'm pretty sure those are pretty much the 2 that I think are in that race at the moment. And I think it's going to be one of them that wins. Once again, I'm not too sure either which way it's going to go at this stage. I'm leaning towards Brendan at the moment, but once again, that'll change. But Dan, what are your thoughts about lead actor?
Actually, Malcolm, and maybe this is a bit of a hot take, but I believe this race is over. I think Brendan Fraser has cleaned up enough of the precursors to basically put him far out front in the Best Actor race. And the irony about this entire thing last night at the SAGs was the first time ever one studio won all the major awards at the Screen Actors Guild, not including the stunt category, which Top Gun Maverick ended up winning. But all the acting and ensemble categories all went to A24. How about that, Malcolm? This little movie studio that could outpowers all the big boys, Universal, Warner Brothers, Sony, Paramount, all these guys, and becomes the first to take all the 5 major categories at the SAG. Tell me how incredible that is. I mean, Fraser,
I didn't realize.
The Whale is A24. In case people didn't know, it's an A24 movie. But Fraser's he's far out in front as far as I'm concerned, Malcolm. I don't think there's a chance that anybody catches him at the Oscars. He's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that the Whale was A24 myself.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's one of those ones. Like I know Brendan Fraser's got a lot of the precursors sort of before this, but I still sort of feel that like Austin's still in the race a little bit because Austin got the Globe for drama and the BAFTA as well. So, I mean, it's it's going to be one of those things that it's going to be between one or the other. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens there. But moving on to ensemble, and surprise, surprise, it was everything every all at once. I mean, like it's one of those things like, how can you award the like lead and supporting to that and not give the ensemble to the same movie? Because it's just one of those ones like it was pretty much a no-brainer at this point. Also, I didn't realize James Hong was 94. He looks a lot younger.
Not
I
me at all. Me at all.
But yeah, I said this today afterwards, but he was actually really funny as well. Like, I want to see him host the Oscars before he passes away, because I mean, hell, get everyone from everyone wants to host the Oscars. Like,
oh, wow. What a great idea. Yeah. Next year, the following year, you get the cast of everything ever. Ki Kwan, James Hong, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, that whole crew host the Oscars next year. That would be a fun show. And then you have the Daniels produce it. How wild would that Oscars be, right?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, do like multiple segments throughout the night of them being dressed up as like themselves from a different universe. It's like there's so much they could potentially do with having them all. And I mean, let's face it, like what they proved from their speech, like Jamie Lee Curtis has always been entertaining. Michelle Yeoh was surprisingly entertaining with her speech. Like, just when she like let out the F bomb on the telecast.
YouTube, you can swear on YouTube. But so I guess with Netflix next year, I guess we're going to get some curse words. I was loving that. They're actually cursing and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is YouTube. I guess you can curse and you say whatever the hell you want. Go as long as you want. You know how long that speech by James Hong was?
Yeah. And I was actually going to get to that that after, it was because we've got a bit of time before we get to do the awards. But I'm unfortunate I missed the start of it. But well, I caught the little opening skit with Steve Martin and Martin Short doing the whole Banshees of Inisherin stuff.
I loved it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's another one though. I'd love to see like Steve Martin and Martin Short, and even Selena Gomez host the Oscars on here as well.
You've been saying that, Malcolm. You've been beating that horse, and I'm telling you right now, that's not a bad idea at all. That's actually after last night, that really enforces that idea, man.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like Steve Martin, like he's hosted it before, but I mean, but he's got a lot of good chemistry with Martin Short, and I think they'll make a great duo. And even just throwing Selena Gomez in there, because why not?
Yeah, what the hell, right? They good chemistry. The three of them, I've watched Only Murders in Building both seasons, and they really have good chemistry. And you'd think Selena Gomez wouldn't be that good of an actress, but she actually has good chemistry with those two guys. It's kind of like the straight man, you know?
Well, that's the thing. Like with Selena Gomez, her start was acting before she got into singing, anyway, because she was in the Disney show Wizards of Waverly Place. So like,
that's right.
And I think a lot of people do actually forget that. It's like I've heard that from a few people. It's like, dude, you do know Selena Gomez was acting before she got into singing. But yeah, but the whole telecast of the SAGs was just great. And using the whole look back segments in place of where would normally be ads, I think worked seamlessly. I
love that.
But yeah, I think the only thing I need, like, if they do it again, and they're probably going to do it again, I'd love them to get like a host to sort of come out, because like, having Mark Wahlberg just sort of randomly sort of signal, say goodnight to everyone, it did seem a little bit like anticlimactic at the end there a little bit. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, every award show has that because they have either whoever the last presenter was or the host to come out and say something at the end. And
Well, I
usually,
was watching the Hollywood Film Critics Awards or whatever it was, and Tig Notaro was the host, and she was pretty funny. But she ended the show, but some of her jokes just didn't land. I'm guessing people just didn't understand some of her jokes. Maybe she wouldn't be the right one to host.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those ones like because like even some of the duos that I saw and either did see that was hosting like Selena Gomez and Aubrey Plaza together.
That was funny. That was interesting. What the heck was that?
It was an interesting pairing, but it was like, oh yeah, they actually like if they ever get someone to play an older version of Wednesday in a multiverse scenario for the Adams family, it's like Aubrey Plaza it does look like an older version of Jenna Ortega, but yeah, but it's just one of those ones like, I mean, there's definitely some of the hosts which I don't think worked that well, but some of the pairings for the presenters and that I don't think worked that well, but for the most part, I was entertained for it. But Dan, what are your thoughts about the whole like first YouTube show of the SAGs?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, Steve Martin, all the murders in the building, just the allowing the people to talk, like Jennifer Coolidge getting up there and talking about, and then the whole segment at the beginning where they always go, I'm an actor, and they tell their stories, and you get to look back at some of the other people in the past doing their I'm an actor speeches and how funny some of those bits were,
Yeah.
And then just instead of the commercials, just doing some of that stuff between takes and stuff like that. And then some of the pairings weren't the best, but they all had some interesting things to say, like the guy Adam, what's his face from Severance. That one was
Adam
a
Scott.
weird one. Say that again.
Adam Scott, I think, is the one you're thinking
Yeah,
of.
that was a weird one. Some of the pairings were interesting, but it actually kind of brought out some interesting chemistry between some of the people. Like you said, Jenna Ortega and Aubrey Plaza was funny. But yeah, I mean, just some of the speeches, like from Sam Elliott, was really just, you could tell how appreciative he was that he got, because he didn't think he was going to win, And then the Sally Field, oh God, I love the Sally Field.
Yeah.
A Lifetime Achievement Award, and just her talking about she was an aunt and a mother and a this and a that and I'm like, damn it, she played all kinds of different characters, And Andrew Garfield, I wouldn't have expected Andrew Garfield to be the guy that gets up there and gives talks about it, but I guess he was there for one of the shows or something. I don't know, but yeah, that was really good because I mean, you think she's been acting a while, but then you forget how long ago she started in some of those shows, the Flying Nun and whatever the other show was, where she was like a teenager or something like that. But yeah, I'll tell you right now, if this is any indication of what Netflix can do, all for it next year. Keep it going the similar way, very similar vibe as what they did this year. It seemed like they were having a lot of fun, and that's what the Oscars should be, fun. So I would look at this and say, this is the kind of fun we need. Throw in a few musical acts and boom, you got the Oscars,
Yeah. I mean, I think the one sort of downside I will kind of thing, when they did the whole ensemble talks and that, I kind of wish they showed a little bit more of the ensemble in those clips, and because those sort of I know that they want to make sure they stayed within like the 2-hour window. I don't know if they had a sort of time limit they had to sort of aim for. I kind of wish they showed a little bit more of the ensemble clips and maybe extend them out a little bit longer, because some of those just seem really short, and a lot of them didn't show a lot of the ensemble in those. But
well, I will tell you this, Malcolm, that that's an indicator. What you saw last night is going to be an indicator of what you're going to probably get at the Oscars, where you get some of the people go up there and they're going to say the Banshees of Inisherin or whatever, or the women talking.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, just those groupings of people in those movies, I think they got it right last night. I absolutely think the 5, they got it right. I think those could be the 5 main films come. You might maybe throw in Elvis instead of women talking or something, but those could be the top 5 vote getters. Maybe maybe top. Yeah, I'm talking myself out of it, Malcolm. Top Gun Maverick's probably in the 5. Yeah, so now forget it. Forget what I just said.
Well, I mean, the Oscars, like they tend to talk about all the best picture winners throughout the night. Anyway,
Oh yeah,
and it's one of, I mean that and it's one of those ones like at the Oscars, I can understand they've got a lot more sort of awards to give out. Like with the SAG, you've only got like I think it's what
15.
5 awards for film, and I think is it? I think it's probably I think it's maybe about 5 each for drama and comedy and the acting and the TV side of things.
Yep. So
So,
I
but
said 15.
yeah, so but something like that. But moving on to other things with a lot of categories, it's time to announce the winners of the Gone with the Wind Awards. That for each of the awards, I'm going to sort of go for the 4 that just about made it in. I'm going to mention those that just about sort of got in, and before I announce the actual ones. So, and one thing I will say, some of these categories have a lot of nominations because there's a lot of ties. Like I was either so it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll get there when we get there. But we're going to start off with visual effects. So other movies that got that people put in their nomination ballots that just missed out, like All Quiet on the Western Front just missed out on visual effects. Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore, Triple R, and For Love and Thunder were the 4 that got more than one vote. But the nominations for visual effects that we have, and hopefully I've all good, you can see. So Avatar: The Way of Water, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Batman, Top Gun Maverick, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness are nominations for visual effects. Dan, what are your thoughts about the visual effects nominations?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty damn good if you ask me. I mean, those are the 5 I probably would have voted for. So I wonder if those are the ones that I did vote for. So I can't remember unless I might have put in because I was just trying to be cool to 13 Lives. I may have thrown in 13 Lives as kind of like instead of one of those. But those are 5 good ones. I don't have much to say on that. That's 5 really good films to pick from.
Yeah, and I will say we got 10. There was about 10 people that submitted forms or nominations. Avatar was one that was on all of them. So going to move over to stunt ensemble. So ones that got more than one vote but just missed out. The Woman King, Avatar: The Way of Water, and Jackass Forever just missed out on stunts, which is something that I didn't even think about, but it's like that makes sense. But nominated for stunt ensemble, we have Top Gun Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and Triple R. Dan, what are your thoughts about stunt ensemble?
Yeah, I mean that's fantastic. I freaking love that. If you're gonna do one Marvel movie, I think when it comes to stunts, I think you definitely want to throw in Black Panther over a couple of the other Marvel movies that came out last year. It was more stunt, more action, more jumping and running and swimming and stuff. So I see the stunt ensemble being more effective in that movie. But RRR being in there, Batman being there, Everything Everywhere, those are good ones, man. I like that category right there. I like those 5 nominees.
But yeah, I mean, like I've did my extra. I mean, I'm not going to talk much about them because I already did my reacting to this while doing this as it is. There's not a lot I was surprised about. Like, I mean, it's funny. I was surprised that Jackass Forever turned up, and then I thought about it, I was like, that makes sense. Weirdly enough.
That does make a lot of sense. You think about it. When you think about it, you think at first, oh, wait a minute. In the whole movie, they're doing stunts and they're doing all that kind of, and they're doing it themselves too.
Yeah, but moving on to Best Original Song. So the 2 that got more than one vote, and there with This Is a Lie from Everything Everywhere All at Once and Ciao Papa from Pinocchio. And we'll give some other songs that came up because there's some interesting ones that turned up. One of the weirdest ones that came up for best original song is the movie for a song from Blues Big City Adventure called "On Our Way," um, and unfortunately it didn't make it in. But we did have one person bring up "Lyle Lyle Crocodile" with "Look at Us Now" from Shawn Mendes, but it was only one person.
Who do you think that was, Malcolm? Who do you think that was?
Gee, I wonder.
Had to vote for it. I've been beating that horse for months. How could I not vote for it, right?
But nominated for original song though, we have Natu Natu from Triple R, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Carolina from Where the Crawdads Sing, Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Good Afternoon from Spirited, and I Ain't Worried from Mumba Public, also from Top Gun Maverick. But what are your thoughts on the original song?
Well, in our awards, these make sense, especially the Spirited song, because I know that a lot of people like that movie. And the whole thing with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman saying, don't vote for a Ryan Reynolds song, this, that, and the other, kind of caused some controversy and put that movie and song a little bit on the public's consciousness. So I could see that kind of slipping in there. The One Republic song, I forgot that there was another song in Top Gun Maverick, but those are par for the course. Those are the big ones that I would have kind of gone for. You know what I mean? If it was me, I may have voted for most of those myself without the Shawn Mendes, La La Crocodile. I got it. I had to say that it was me that voted for that one, Malcolm.
But moving on to best original score. So things that almost got in, but just missed out by a couple. Horda Gundada for Woman Talking. Volker Bertelmann for All Quiet on the Western Front. Carter Burrell for Banshees. Sam Lux for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Ludwig for Wakanda Forever. Chanda Dancy for Devotion. And Terence Blanchard for The Moon King all just about made it on.
That could be could have been a group of nominees right there, Malcolm.
Yeah. And also some interesting ones that came up that I was excited about. The score for Top Gun Maverick turned up on one of the ballots. The score for Triple R turned up. The score from The Northman turned up at one stage. After Yang turned up, Pearl. So there was definitely some interesting ones coming up, but the ones that actually got nominated. So I find where I put. There we are. We've got John Williams for The Fabelmans, Justin Hurst for Babylon, Michael Giacchino for The Batman, Alexandra Desplat for Pinocchio, Simon Franklin for Avatar: The Way of Water. What are your thoughts on the nominations for score?
Well, the score for Avatar is surprising to me because I think when you're watching Avatar, you don't think of the score. You know what I mean? So that one's kind of surprising. But obviously, for some of the people voting, that meant a lot to them. So, but the other ones are really good. Those are ones that I probably would have voted for if it was me. I may have voted for some. I'm a big proponent for Giacchino in The Batman. So I'm happy to see that in there.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones that I saw Simon Franklin turn up on someone's nomination ballot. I was like, I don't remember the score, but no one else is going to vote. But then it kept on coming up. It was like, and slid into that spot. I was like, maybe there was a lot of people liked it more than I thought. But yeah. But moving on to best sound, just missing out. Elvis, Babylon, and Everything all at Once. There wasn't a lot of other interesting ones that turned up in the nominations, but actual nominated for best sound is Top Gun Maverick, Nope, The Batman, Avatar: The Way of Water, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Pretty much a lot of the usual suspects, but Dan, what are your thoughts about best sound?
Yeah, I give you. Yep, I'm right there with you, Malcolm. Those are the usual suspects. And it's good to see Nope in there for some of these categories because I know Nope was a good movie, but obviously it didn't translate to the Academy Awards and some of these awards. shows, but I'm glad to see the people for the Gone with the Wind Awards giving it some love.
Yeah. But moving on to makeup and hairstyling. So just outside of the nominations, Babylon is just outside there. Red, the Al Yankovic story, is just outside there. And Matilda the Musical is also just outside of that top 5. Also, an interesting one that turned up, X came up at one point as well. That was only on one ballot, though, but...
Well, remember Mia Goth playing the old lady. You forget she's the old lady in that. And that's some damn good makeup, because if I wasn't watching the movie, you almost can't even tell that she's the old lady in that. So that's some damn good makeup.
Yeah, but the ones that were nominated for makeup and hairstyling, you got the Batman, Elvis, you got the Whale, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Once again, the usual suspects has been around this award season, but Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, those are kind of what you would expect from makeup and hair. Maybe The Northman or something like that. But I know, not having Matilda the Musical in there, that's probably something that you voted for, Malcolm. So for your sake, I'm sorry that it's not in there, because I know I have a feeling that you voted for that.
I probably did, but I think... I mean, but it's one of those times I thought I thought for sure it might have got a little bit more love, but I'm also not too surprised about, like, I know there's people out there that just don't like musicals anyway and probably didn't watch it, but moving on to...
Malcolm. I'll be honest. I know we're moving on in a sec. Honestly, Malcolm, I've been meaning to see it, and I just haven't got around to it. This week is kind of a slow week for me, so maybe I might try to knock that out this week and let you know my thoughts over the weekend.
But moving on to costume design, and just outside the top 5, and one of these is probably going to upset you a little bit, Dan, but Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris just missed out. Don't worry, Darling turned up in costume design and got two nominations. The Northman showed up and the Woman King showed up, and there was and Triple R even showed up on a ballot as well, but actually nominated for costume design. There we are. So there we have the Batman, Elvis, Babylon, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and Everything All at Once. You're going to start getting the theme here, but Dan, what do you thought about costume design?
Yeah, that's a lot of the same ones, man. We're getting a lot of the same films in these categories, Malcolm. We haven't even gotten close to getting finished with this, but I've been talking about some of these for months, and I'm glad to see the Batman get into some of these categories, which I thought deserved to have been in some of these nominations for the Oscars. More of these categories, but yeah, a lot of the usual suspects once again.
But moving on to production design, and just missing out on production design once again, Don't Worry Darling showed up again. Bullet Train was also there on a couple of ballots, and All Quiet on the Western Front came up once, but actually nominated for production design. Once I find that thing I made, we've got a lot of them. We've got Glass Onion, we've got Babylon, we've got Elvis, The Fabelmans, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Batman, and Avatar: The Way of Water. As in a lot of the usual suspects, but a lot more of them. But Dan, what are your thoughts about production design?
You said All Quiet on the Western Front missed out, huh? That's kind of a surprise if you ask me, but maybe not as many people saw it, and that's why it missed out. But yeah, that's a lot of them. Babylon's in there, so that's considered the front runner. I don't, obviously you can't correlate a lot of this with the Gone with the Wind Awards, but the fact that it's in there, that Batman's in there, everything's in there, these movies are, even Glass Onion's in there. That's a good one for that. It's that production design, that island, that whole thing that they created was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those ones that I know a lot of people actually did see All Quiet on the Western Front. I think it's just one of those cases that maybe some categories they just didn't kind of see the production design. Maybe they just didn't think it was really that spectacular. But moving on to film editing. And just outside of the film editing, there was nominated Avatar: The Way of Water just missed out. Triple R, The Batman, and Banshees all missed out. But one thing I'm glad that came up on one, and that might have actually been mine. Now I think about it, is the menu popped up on one for editing as well.
Wow.
But actually nominated for editing, we have Top Gun Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Glass Onion, and Babylon. Dan, what are your thoughts about those?
Yeah, I'm glad to see like Babylon in there, Glass Onion in there, a lot of the usual suspects, but a couple extras, which with you not breaking the ties and throwing them in. Now you have some more nominees, and some of these films that kind of deserve some of these nominees, like those ones I just mentioned. I thought was really good that they're in there, and that's the good thing about you doing it the way you do it. You added in these films that have ties, these categories that have ties, and you throw in the extra nominees. So that's always a fun thing,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like I opted not to break up the ties because like I didn't want to be the one that makes the decision on what comes in and what gets left off. I'll let them all be there just because I mean, I will say for some of these, like early on, there was a point where, like, when I first announced the nominations, like we had a bunch that came in, then it just kind of stalled a little bit until I got Dan to send them out to a few extra people, and like there was some categories which would have had about almost 10 nominations, about close to 10 there. But some of the ones that Dan got as a Hail Mary, like broke up some of them. But moving on to cinematography, and just outside of cinematography, Babylon, The Fabelmans, Everything of It All at Once, and Nope all missed out. Some interesting ones that came up, but sadly only one person kind of had love for it. The Northman came up. Uncharted actually came up for cinematography, believe it or not.
Hell.
Look, I will say some of the action that was really well done. A movie called Athena, which I've never heard of, came up for cinematography.
Yeah, actually, it's a French movie. It's a French movie, Malcolm. It did have some really, really good cinematography. I will say that about it. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it did have really good cinematography.
But the actual nomination for cinematography, we have Top Gun Maverick, The Banshees at Inisherin, Elvis, The Batman, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations for cinematography?
The fact that we got this narrowed down to 5, and were those 5 right there, I think those are the 5 that were probably the best films as far as cinematography go. And we have Top Gun Maverick in the 5. Thank you to the voters of Gone with the Wind for correcting a egregious mistake at the Academy Awards nominations. I'll get that out of the way, Malcolm.
But yeah, sadly, Roger Deakins was snubbed. But
that's right, Empire of Light. But I'll be honest with you. I don't think a lot of people saw Empire of Light. I'll be honest with you, Malcolm.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's coming out this week for me, or it's
it might
came out last.
be on Disney Plus or Hulu. Do you have
yeah, I think it's searched like, so it's probably going to be a Disney Plus for me anyway. Because Banshees of Inisherin is going to be on Disney Plus for me in a couple of weeks. But moving on to cast ensemble, just outside of the nominations, Bullet Train just missed, The Woman King, The Fabelmans, The Batman, Wakanda Forever, and Death and All just missed, and they got more than one nomination. Some interesting ones that came up outside. Once again, Jackass Forever came up. A Man Called Otto came up on one nomination. And Elvis even just missed out. But the ones that are actually nominated, there it is. We have Babylon, Glass Onion, Woman Talking, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Top Gun Maverick. Dan, what are your thoughts about Best Cast Ensemble?
Wow, that's pretty good. Now, when you said just missed out, the last one you said, I couldn't make that one out that you said. What was the last one that just missed out?
The last one that I said for just missing out was Death on a Nile. On the Nile.
Really? Somebody voted
Yeah.
for Death on the Nile? Are you kidding me? The only one worth it in that was Emma McKay. She is fantastic. If you haven't seen Emily, I recommend seeing Emily. She's fantastic in Emily. But no, those are really good. The fact that Women Talking's in there, Glass Onion is in there, a lot of the usual suspects are in there, and I'm surprised to see Top Gun Maverick in there for ensemble. I don't think you look at that movie and say, "Oh, the cast ensemble is great," but you got John Hamm, you got some decent, decent people. Tom Cruise, obviously, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly. So you got a decent cast in there of pretty good actors, plus the newer actors that you might not know who they are. There'll be more household names down the line when they get more roles. But it's not a horrible cast, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, I could see why that would have slipped in there.
But yeah, moving on to documentary. Now there wasn't a lot that actually just missed out, but other than ones that came up for documentary, we had All That Breathes, Bad Axe, Descendant, and I mean, I suppose it counts as documentary. I wasn't too sure, but only one person said it in documentary, Jackass Forever.
Well, it's real life people being documented doing things. So technically it's a documentary.
Yeah, as I said, technically it counts. It didn't make it into the nominations anyway because only one person saw it that way. And also, I put on mine the Harry Potter reunion special because to me that felt like a documentary when I was watching it. But once again,
it was on HBO Max. That doesn't count. That's TV, right, Malcolm?
It was a TV special, but it was featured. It's
a Gone with the Wind Awards. Who cares? Who cares? It's the Gone with the Wind. We do whatever we want. We march to whatever beat we want, right, Malcolm?
Well, yeah. That's the thing. Like that. I mean, that's how. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh yeah, you have to make sure it was released in this one theater in Auckland, New Zealand before it gets nominated.
I'm sure you put a vote for your movie, which I have no qualms against you for voting for your documentary, Malcolm, for New Zealand. You saw it. You loved it. If you put it in there for documentary, it deserves to be in it. I didn't see it. A lot of other people didn't see it. But if I had, I probably would have put it in there. I just wish I had seen it. Maybe it'll come out in the States this year and I will have a chance to see it.
Well, the movie I was talking about, it wasn't a documentary anyway. It was it was an actual narrative movie. So, but that being said, apparently there was a New Zealand documentary that came out last year because it did make the nominations. I didn't put it in there because I haven't seen it.
What?
But nominated was Fire of Love, Moonish Daydream, Goodnight Obbie, Navalny, The Volcano, Rescue from Vicaro, which is a New Zealand real life event, which surprised me when that came up because I didn't know about that it was around. I think it's on Netflix, and All the Beauty and the Bloodshed got in. But Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations?
Well, I guess I got to see this volcano rescue in wherever, Wakaki or wherever it's called. I had no idea. I never heard of this. Somebody obviously saw it and voted for it. So, or more than one person obviously saw it.
Well, that's the thing. Two people saw it because that's how it made because everyone else, all the other ones I mentioned was on one, but I believe it is on Netflix from what I can see.
Is it? I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch that this week. I'm going to catch up on some stuff I had missed, Malcolm, this week. I'm telling you right now.
But moving on to foreign language film, which there isn't a lot of things that just missed because all the other ones had multiple nominations. Like the only two that missed that only had one nomination, and one of them was because no one else had seen it. But Triangle of Sadness missed foreign language, and even the New Zealand movie Muru, M-U-R-U, the one you were hassling me about, missed foreign language. But
that's what it was. I don't know why I thought it was documentary for some. I knew it was in one of those, but yeah.
Yeah, but nominated for documentary is once again it's basically the usual suspects. So you got Triple R there, you got you got Close, you got All Quiet on the Western Front, Decision to Leave, Argentina 1985, and the donkey movie EO. But Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations for foreign language film?
Put that back up there. I want to look at something real quick, Malcolm. Put that back up there. Okay. Come on. Why are they putting EO in here? I mean, Jesus. Come on, people. All right, get that out of here. No, I mean, I like EO. Like, come on. I mean, give me a break here. I'm glad to see Decision to Leave in there and RRR in there. So the Gone with the Wind voters are a little bit smarter than the Academy Award voters, getting two good ones in there, Malcolm, that I think should have been in there.
I mean, once again, we don't have to ask. We don't ask the countries who submit a movie that they want to submit for the consideration for the Oscars. We just nominate what we want. Because that's the only reason Triple R missed the Oscars anyway, because it wasn't pushed by India. But moving on over to animated feature, just missing out on animated, the Sea Beast, Lightyear, DC League of Super Pets, and one that it didn't make it in, but I would have questioned if it did. But Chip and Dale came up. It didn't make it on the nominations, but
it's similar to
animated
Marcel
hybrid.
the Shell she's on.
Yeah, I mean it's a hybrid. It's one of those ones like, but I mean it didn't make it in the nominations anyway. But something more interesting ones that came up outside that, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe came up on the ballot. Mad God came up on the ballot.
Yeah, I figured that would come up.
The Kid Cudi film Intergalactic came up as well.
Wow.
But actually nominated for animated, there we are, is usual. There's usual suspects. So you got Tony, you got Pinocchio, you got Puss in Boots, you got Marcel, but Apollo 10.5 made it in that fifth spot. But then what are your thoughts on animated?
Yeah, instead of one of the other Netflix movies, Apollo 10.5, which a lot of people think should have gotten more love during the year, but it came out so long ago that people kind of forgot about it. And then they give, for whatever reason, I don't understand this. They have this problem with rotoscoping, Malcolm, which I don't have a problem with rotoscope. It's animation. I don't know why you have a problem with rotoscoping. It's animation, animated movie. It deserves to be in the conversation for animated movie. Whether it's good or bad, that's a whole nother story.
I mean,
I don't know why people want to make this big thing about rotoscoping and all this. And Apollo 10.5 was a good movie.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it's one of those ones. I think with rotoscoping, I think it's kind of similar to the argument, like, because I mean, a lot of people have made this argument that based on the Academy's rules for animated movie, Avatar: The Way of Water technically counts for animated because
Yes, it is.
But even though a lot of the animation is motion capture anyway, because but it's just one of those ones like, if people really wanted to be smart and trying to go through some of these limitations of the Oscars and find loopholes, then Avatar: The Way of Water counts for animated.
It's a lot of animation.
If Marcel counted for animated, then like Avatar: The Way of Water counts.
That's right.
And even Chippendale Rescue Rangers ones, it also counts, even though like that's got the same issues like hybrid and that. But yeah,
remember Smurfs a few years back, or last year it was what was it? The Big Red Dog, Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I think the rules for for things that count in animated fiction has to be feature length, and it has to like 75% of the movie must be sort of animated or have animated characters and that, like something like that anyway, which is a little bit weird, but yeah. But moving on to original screenplay, and just missing out, read the Al Yankovic story once again, just missed out. The Woman King just missed out. Cha-Cha Reels Move and Hustle all sort of around there. And there's definitely a lot of nominations here for this one. and screenplay original. But nominated, we've got Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Feldmans, Tar, Nope, Elvis, The Menu, Babylon, and Triangle of Sadness, all in the mix here for original screenplay. Dan, what are your thoughts on the nominations?
Yeah, you almost have as many for Best Picture here for original screenplay. But Gone with the Wind awards, we don't discriminate. You get enough votes, you tied with some other ones, you're in. So we got 9 of them, and they seem like the 9 most obvious ones to me, as far as I'm concerned. So what do I?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. But I thought too late about doing the same as the Oscars doing preferential, but so I wasn't going to go back. I didn't really want to go back and sort of recalculate the votes just to try and narrow it down. I was like, I'll leave it at what it is. But moving on to adapted screenplay, just missing out on nominations. We've got She Said, The Whale, A Man Called Otto, Avatar: The Way of Water, and The Batman, all missing out for adapted screenplay. Other ones that actually came up for adapted screenplay that I thought was interesting. Marcel the Shell came up for adapted screenplay because apparently it's based on a short, which I didn't realize. Puss in Boots 2 came up for adapted screenplay. The Black Phone and Scream and Prey all sort of came up. But actually nominated for adapted screenplay, we have Glass Onion, Top Gun Maverick, White Noise, Woman Talking, Living, Pinocchio, and All Quiet on the Western Front.
If I had my druthers, Malcolm, I'd kick White Noise out of there. Did you ever have a chance to see White Noise?
Not yet. I do plan on giving a watch, though.
I just didn't like that at all, Malcolm. I'd be interested to see what you think. Some of these movies, have you seen, like Bardot's on Netflix, White Noise are on Netflix. These are ones you have a Netflix. You could probably catch these at some point. But I know you have a wife.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones I've seen White Noise pop up a few times. I just haven't really wanted to see it. Really, and I know we've talked about a lot when talking about the Oscars, but I apparently the script for Top Gun Maverick is actually really good because even here it came up.
It's a popular movie. It's going to get in a bunch of places, no matter if it's Gone with the Wind Awards or the Academy Awards.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't talking about that. I mean, it's the fact that it got in for screenplay as well, because I mean, it's in screenplay for the Oscars, and I know we've talked about this before. It's like with Maverick, like it's one of those movies like I don't really watch and think, oh, that dialogue is good. So I don't think about the screenplay more watching Top Gun Maverick, but it is what it is. It made it into the awards. Now we're going to move into the big ones, starting with Best Director. And just missing out on Best Director, Baz Luhrmann for Elvis, Megan Park for The Fallout, S.S. Rajamouli for Triple R, Matt Reeves for The Batman, and Damien Chazelle for Babylon, all missing out for Best Director. But other ones that sort of came up in the nominations, like we did get Sarah Polley and Gina Prince-Bythewood for Woman Talking and The Woman King. They came up on one person's ballot. Todd Field for Tar actually missed it. It was, and Charlotte Wells for After Sun sort of came up. But actually nominated for Best Director is A Bunch of White Men. We've got Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Martin McDonagh for Banshees, James Cameron for Avatar, and Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun Maverick. Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations?
Yeah, those seem like, that grouping you would think would have been the grouping for the Academy Awards, to be honest with you. The fact that that's what we ended up with the Gone with the Wind Awards is kind of like, wow, okay, this is pretty much what you would expect from this category. Obviously, Daniel Kwan is the only non-white guy in there. But yeah, like you said, Gina Prince-Bythewood and Sarah Polley missing out is kind of sad, but what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, unlike the Oscars and that, like the people for the Gone with the Wind don't get invited to screenings and that. So, and Woman Talking's like literally was out, probably only released like a week before I started doing the nominations anyway. So it's like people probably just either didn't get around to go see it or just weren't interested in seeing Woman Talking. And I think it's just a case of whether or not they saw the Woman King since. Like I've still got to see that. But yeah. But moving on to young actor / actress, people that came up that just didn't get on the nomination ballot. Banks repeater for Armageddon Time. Enan Dambreen for Close. Mia Goth for Pearl came up. Madeline McGraw and Mason Thomas both from The Black Phone. Trinity Bliss from Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm going to butcher this name. Fuso Mabedu for The Woman King came up.
She's good, but Mia Goth is an adult. What the heck would she be in there for?
Well, I mean, I mean, it's one. I think it's one of those ones. Like, I think it's yeah. Let me look up to see how old she is.
Yeah, she's not under 21. She's definitely older than 21.
Yeah, she's so I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think about it at the time, but she didn't make the nominations anyway. So yeah, but actually did make in the nominations.
But
we've got
Fuso and Beto, she's old. I believe she's older than 21, but she's not much older, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I think maybe people thought that she was they were younger than what they were when they watched that movie. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I understand.
But moving on to who actually was nominated,
Jesus.
Yeah, a lot of people love the young actors apparently. Gabriel LaBelle from The Fabelmans came up. Frankie Curio for After Sun. Gina Ortega for The Fallout. And I really wish I did a different color for this, but Julia Butters for The Fabelmans came up. Sadie Sink for The Whale. Alicia Rea for Matilda the Musical, Amber Midfunter for Prey, rather, and Stephanie Zhu for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations of the young actor?
Well, what's our cutoff, Malcolm? What's our cutoff of age of young actor or whatever? What's the category again?
It's young actor. I didn't give a cutoff, which now I think about, I really should have.
Because Stephanie Susan, a grown ass adult, but she's young, and a lot of people probably don't realize it. But she's like in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She's in this. She plays the daughter, so maybe people thought she was younger or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a grown ass adult. I'd probably take her off the nominations if I was you. You do it.
Yeah, I'm just double checking. Stephanie Zhu's definitely too old. She's 32, so I'm gonna take her off. Amber Midfund is 25, but I will allow that because I think that's close enough.
She's playing young. I mean, she's playing really young. Her character, she was playing young, very young.
But all the other, I'm pretty sure Gina Ortega is young enough.
Oh yeah, she might have turned 18 after the Fallout, but she was definitely underage when she was making the Fallout.
No, I mean, like she's definitely still under 21 anyway. So yeah, Stephanie Zhu's not going to be in the ballot just because she is too old, but she's probably going to pop up on a different category anyway.
Yeah, it's not like we're shaming Stephanie Sue or anything. She'll be in something else, I'm sure. And we got to have a little bit of it. Even though we don't have much integrity to Gone with the Wind Awards, we got to have a little bit of integrity, right, Malcolm?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't think about some of these. Like, some of these, I didn't go through and check everyone's age on the ones that came up on the ballot. But
next year, 18's the cutoff, right?
I'll probably make it 21. But once again,
okay. All right.
But
fair.
But next year, I'm going I'll check people's ages, and if they're not young enough, I'm going to discount them.
Malcolm's going to card people next year, so you guys better make sure you have a valid ID.
Boy, I'm not. Anyway, I can just imagine someone going up to Stephanie Zhu at screenings like, can I see your ID? I need to make sure you're old enough for young actor and actress categories. Anyway, moving on to supporting actress. So just outside, so other people that came up because but other people that came up sort of outside the ones that were nominated, Kiki Palmer came up on one for Nope. Lupita Nyong'o for Black Panther 2 came up. Zoe Kravitz for The Batman came up. Hong Xiao for The Menu came up. Marina Trevino for The Man Called Otto. And I mean, I liked Someone's Balls, but ballsiness for bringing up Elizabeth Olsen for Doctor Strange 2 for supporting actor, but which I if she got in the nomination, I wouldn't have hated it because I do think she was great in the movie. But yeah, but the people that were nominated for
Kiki
supporting
Palmer was a
actress
good one, though. That was a good one.
yeah, people that were nominated for supporting actress. So we've got Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Kerry Condon for Banshees, Stephanie Zhu for Everything Everywhere, Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion, Hong Chow for The Whale, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere, Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness, and Lashana Lynch for The Woman King. What are your thoughts on nominations for supporting actress?
What a great! I mean, that's the one thing about the Gone with the Wind. You can nominate as many as you want. Malcolm, we got 8. I'll tell you what; those are 8 damn good ones. I love Lashana Lynch and Woman King. I thought that was a really good batch of actresses, and it's very all diverse races and whatnot. You know, so I really like that.
Yeah, and we'll say after looking at the thing I made, I'm pretty sure I spelled Monet's last name wrong. Janelle Monáe.
Monet, right? Monet, right? Monet. That's.
I mean,
that's
it's either I thought it was Monae, but I spelled it Monet on the thing. But I'll double check that. When I take Stephanie Zhu out a young actor on the thing, I'm probably I'll double check that.
Well, at least she's in here, which is.
But yeah, moving on to supporting actor, which has actually just about as much people as supporting actress in the actual nominations, but other people that sort of came up. You had both Miles Teller and Val Kilmer were nominated for Top Gun Maverick. Actually, Glenn Powell's also brought up on people's ballots for Top Gun Maverick. N.T. Ramarao Jr. for Triple R. Truman Hanks for A Man Called Otto. And some people put Colin Farrell for The Batman in supporting actor as well. But actually nominated for supporting actor, we have Paul Dano for The Fabelmans, Kiki Kwan for Everything Everywhere. Both Banshees boys are there. Ben Whishaw for Woman Talking, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Brad Pitt for Babylon, Nicholas Hoult for The Menu, and Tom Hanks for Elvis. What are your thoughts about the nomination for supporting actor?
Wow, that's a bunch of people, Malcolm. But a lot of people. I'm glad to see people put in Nicholas Hoult for The Menu. He was funny in that, and whether you like Tom Hanks in Elvis or not, he was pretty sinister in that role with a lot of makeup on and stuff. And I actually, early on, he was one of my favorites to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Put him in there, and of course, a lot of the regular, the usual suspects. So, so 9 people, geez, 9 in this and 8 in the other one, huh?
Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those ones that it's always things that go and mentioning. One name that did come up on supporting, which I probably would have discounted anyway, because some people did put Ray Fiennes for The Menu in supporting actor, but he's definitely the lead.
Yep.
But that being said, moving on to lead actor, just missing out for lead actor is Daniel Radcliffe for Read the Yael Yankovic Story, but Ray Fiennes for The Menu, Jeremy Pope for The Inspection came up. Timothy Chalamet for Bones and All. One person did brought up Will Smith for Emancipation. Tom Hanks for Man Called Otto missed out. And Felix Camera for All Quiet on the Western Front. But the ones that actually got nominated for lead actor is up here. We got Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees and Sharon, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Adam Sandler for Hustle, Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick, Gabrielle LaBelle for The Fabelmans, Jonathan Majors for Devotion, and Bill Nighy for Living. What are your thoughts about the nominations for actor, Dan?
I think that's a pretty good list, but I would defer to you, Malcolm. If you're in young actor, can you be in lead actor? That's something I would go for.
Well, well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's one of those ones. Like, I was going to allow people to be nominated in multiple roles. I mean, it's categories. Because I mean, like Gabriel LaBelle is still the lead of the Fabelmans, even though he is a young actor.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't disagree with that at all. I was just like I said, I was deferring to you. You're the one who's doing this. You're doing all the work. I just sent out a bunch of ballots. Hopefully, we got some votes. But that makes complete sense that somebody would do that.
But yeah. I mean, for me personally, like the one thing I was sad that didn't make it in was Ray Fiennes for The Menu. But that being said, one thing I'm going to ask, and if you're okay, because he did get nominated once in supporting where he's still the lead. Do I transfer that vote over into the lead thing and therefore Ray Fiennes actually makes it into the ballot, or what do you think?
Well, I think the co-leads of The Menu are Anya Taylor-Joy and him, so I believe they're leads. But you're doing all this work, Malcolm. I mean, if you think he's got enough votes to be in the nominees for supporting, throw him in as supporting. It'll make 10 for supporting actor.
Well, yeah,
and then he gets on the ballot.
What I was thinking is because he definitely doesn't have enough votes in supporting to make him in supporting, but he's got one vote in supporting, but yet he's got 2 votes for lead. So if I move a vote over to that supporting vote over to give him for lead, then he will make him the lead act. Yeah.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, if that gets him into the lead category, throw him in there. I mean, it's not like we're the Academy Awards or anything. You can do whatever the hell we want, Malcolm. You're the boss of this, man. You're the boss. You do it however you want to do it, man. If you want to put Ralph Fiennes in there and he's got a supporting vote, and he should be going to Oscar, so that's a mistaken vote. Throw him in the lead. Hey, man, what the hell? And then throw a little love to Ralph Fiennes, which I think he's fantastic in The Menu, I might add.
Yeah, but moving on to lead actress, and just outside for lead actress, Gina Ortega for The Fallout almost made it in. Mia Goth for Pearl almost made it in. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be upset about that because I know there's a lot of people arguing that Mia Goth should have been nominated at the Oscars, but apparently by this, not enough people cared that much to get it.
Well, real quick, Malcolm. Any votes for her in X?
Well, no. No.
Okay. Because if you're going to do that for Ralph Fiennes, you put the votes for X and Pearl together, and I was just
I mean, it's one of those ones. Like, I think if there was enough votes for her in the X, I probably would have just because it's kind of the same moves. I may have just put them together automatically anyway. But also coming up for lead actress that didn't make it into the nominations. Florence Pugh was nominated for Don't Worry, Darling. Or she was just outside the nominations, which I would have been fine with. So I think, like, say what you want about the movie, I thought Florence Pugh was great in it. But other people whose names came up that just didn't make it in, unfortunately, Anya Taylor-Joy did not get enough love in the lead actress side of things to even get close. Fuso Mabedu for The Woman King was just outside there. Aubrey Plaza came up on a ballot for Emily
For
the Criminal.
the criminal, Aubrey the
Yeah,
the
and
criminal.
unfortunately, the Oscars grassroots campaign didn't work for the Gone with Them awards because Andrea Wasborough came up on one bracket, but no one else had any love for her.
Yeah, sorry, Andrea.
I mean, it's probably because no one else really saw her movie or knew it was around.
That's right.
But
There you go.
actually being nominated for lead actress, we have got Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Kate Blanchett for Tar, Danielle Deadwyler for Tool, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and one I'm actually happy made it in, Naomi Ackie for I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston biopic. But Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations for lead actress?
Very surprised to see Naomi Ackie in there, but I'll tell you right now, if you call lip syncing acting, she gave the best performance of the year, because I'll tell you right now, there's no way on earth you could have told you could tell that she was not singing those songs. That's how good a job she did is that role. And I will still stand by this. It is not her voice singing no song. She is lip syncing, people. Do not start this up again. But great. Those six are fantastic. I don't have any problems with those six whatsoever.
I mean, it's one of those ones like outs. I admit I'm one of the ones that was fooled that thought she was actually singing the songs. But outside that, I think her acting in the movie in general was just great.
She was good. You're right. And she's British, Malcolm. You couldn't tell. There's no way on earth you could have tell she was British, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I will say one of the funny things that that happened with the Gone with the Wind, I didn't bring up is and I'm pretty sure I know whose ballot it was that did this, but someone did try to get Michelle Williams into supporting, but they were the only person that kind of that tried it because it didn't work. But Michelle Williams made it into leads, unfortunately. Yeah. But moving on to best.
Go.
Yeah, but moving on to best picture. So some of the movies that came up that unfortunately missed out. Tar, Prey, Nope all came up on some ballots.
Prey couldn't have got in. You can't put Prey in. Hold on a second, Malcolm. I want to go back. Okay, people don't know this. All right, people just don't know this. But you can't put Prey into this, and you can't put Al Yankovic. They're TV movies. Yes, they're movies. They're not theatrically released. They are on TV. They can't be in. But Malcolm is running this. Malcolm's the boss. If Malcolm lets you in the Gone with the Wind Awards, you're in, no matter what I say.
Well, I mean, to push back on that a little bit, like,
all right.
But I mean, like, Red is one of those ones that wouldn't have made it in regardless if we were focusing on if it was factory release and that. I'm pretty certain like Prey had the standard releases in the theater.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure it did because I think I heard some people actually get said in theaters, but a few before it was released. But so I know it was traditionally it was mainly released on Disney Plus or Hulu, depending on which way you're looking at it. But I thought I heard. But anyway, it's one of those ones. Like, I'm not gonna. It's the Gone with the Wind Awards. I'm not going to sort of go do that whole thing anyway. It's like if it's a movie, it counts. I'm not going to count if it's because we don't do TV awards here, so this is the only way they're going to get nominated. But also missing out on Best Picture. The Batman unfortunately didn't get enough love for Best Picture. All Quiet on the Western Front didn't make it in. Woman Talking also didn't get a lot of love and didn't make it in. But other ones that kind of came up on nominations that just Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris got a nomination for Best Picture. Jackass Forever kind of came up once. But yeah, but actually nominated for Best Picture is there we are. We've got The Banshees of Inisherin, Top Gun Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Triple R, Pinocchio, Elvis, Babylon, The Menu, Hustle, and Avatar: The Way of Water. And just for clarification, it's not Disney's Pinocchio, it's Del Toro's Pinocchio. Because, yeah. Dan, what are your thoughts about the nominations for Best Picture?
Yeah, surprised to see The Hustle in there. I know a lot of people like that, but I just was, I guess a smaller voting body, I was still surprised to see, on all these enough to snuck in there, The Hustle. I mean, obviously, it must have resonated with enough people because it got in. But these are kind of the Menu's a surprise. Even though I love The Menu, I was surprised to see it in there. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm glad that there was enough love for some of these films that they got in here, and winning these categories is another whole thing. Come on, so you don't know what's going to end up winning. It's just so having a bunch of nominees, hey, good for them,
Yeah. So I will have the voting sheet up, and once I fix up some of the things on the screen and things, I will have the nomination forms up, and it'll start being on the Take 3 page from tomorrow, maybe. But yeah, that's it for Gone with the Wind this week. Yeah, we're definitely winding up for the to the Oscars. Like, we've got 2 weeks left till the Oscars. Not even that, really. It's probably about a week and a bit now. But next week, we're gonna have 2 shows next week. We'll have one on the usual Monday where we're going to be talking about the Costume Designers Guild, Audio Society Awards, scripters, ACDs, cinematographers, WGA, and then we'll have a episode the day before the Oscars where we talk about our predictions for what we think's going to win and what should win and all that. But yeah, that is it for Gone with the Wind today. Dan, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Dan Scapone on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, or From the Fourth Row. And I'm a film critic, obviously down here below. You can see that articles, and also I write for disappointmentmedia.com. And I was on 2 episodes of Picture This, featuring the Godfather films 1972 and 1974. So those are up on the Dill Pickle Network channel. And I was also on the Subathon with who he was online for 24 hours. And we did talk about some awards talk for about an hour. So those are a bunch of the places where you can find me. And stay tuned. I'm going to be putting up my I have a special series coming out.
And yeah, you can find me on Tape Productions. I host Rankum every Sunday. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it yesterday because for reasons. But the Animal Attack Rankum movie will be happening this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then obviously the day before I'll have a poll for the week after. You can also find me hosting Formula Random as well. The match, we've got a few matches coming up this week. We've got A24 Horror coming up. I believe it is going to be Thursday now. It was going to be today, but then it had to be delayed. And then I've got a spelling match happening on Friday. And then also we've got a match all about the cult film director, Andy Sedaris, because Bill Carriola wanted it and some people signed up for it because...
oh, my God.
Oh yeah, and I had to write it all, which meant that my most watched film director has now jumped all the way up on Letterboxd to Andy Sedaris because why not?
Oh wow, that's crazy.
But until next time, that is the end of ranking for tonight. We'll see you back here next week. And yeah, as I find something to go out on.
Boom! Drop the mic.